Hello there, Qckslvrslash, and today I have a video courtesy of Moosealoob, or Andy S as everyone who sees the comments knows him, and they're driving their Tier 7 Fiji. A lot of people have felt that this ranked is the season of the premium ship, and that's definitely not untrue, but there are a number of standard tech tree ships that do very well in ranked, and that's really what this game's gonna prove. So you can see already in chat, most of the team's kind of gone, let's go to B. And personally, I don't like sending a whole team to B, whether it's from the north or the south, just because there isn't actually a ton of cover over there. This island on the northwestern edge of B is actually a pretty short island when you get looking at it, which means if you try to hide behind it as a battleship or something, if you get spotted by a flanking destroyer or anything, things can still shoot you. So I really do like pushing to A, from both sides. I think the South has a tiny advantage, but it's nothing that a little bit of superior play doesn't overcome. Now the one thing to remember about the Fiji compared to the Belfast is the Fiji doesn't have radar. Instead, it gets the repair party, and it has torpedoes. And I like that. It makes the Fiji a very durable ship, and you can see the other team has also decided to go for B. Now, for the other team, they have this island down here that would be right at the south edge of the normal B cap on this map, and it's nice and tall, so it provides a good chunk of cover. However, you can see for them to make it here, they have to charge the open. So I'm not sure why Andy smoked there. I believe that was a mistaken button push, considering instantly he, clicked on hydro. So a little bit of a, mistake putting out the smoke. It's not going to protect him from anything, and it's nowhere close enough to anything to help. But there's the enemy Fiji, and it's looking like Andy timed those torps at the edge of land perfectly. And it is a big thing to do. When you know a ship's coming around the edge, really well timed torps, just based on intuition, it's gonna wreck a ship like he did to mini chat in that enemy Fiji. And at this point, this is a fight that Moosealoob or Andy just wins. So First Blood gets the kill, secures the cap, because nothing on the other team is over here. And one of the things you really have to do in ranked is keep tally of every ship. I always count how many enemy markers I see on the map, store that in the back of my head so that I'm knowing where they are and if I need to be worried that, oh, one isn't spotted. Well, one was spotted, and he drove around the corner and is dead. So you can see Andy being a little cautious, driving out, I think just making sure there's no torpedoes, perhaps. But he is going to get into the cap, and this is where you wish you still had the smoke. The other thing I will note is Moosealoob forgot to use premium consumables. And if I recall, he admitted this in the email, just saying, he hopped in the ship to try something different, and he completely forgot to load them on there. So where that really hurts is with the smoke. Really all the cooldowns. He'd be getting pretty close to having another consumable ready already if he had that mounted. But it doesn't really matter. You just play a little cautious, use your detection ring on your map, keep any enemy ships from getting too close to it, and go to work. Now Moose fires off some torps there. Are they going to count? Probably not. 8-kilometer torpedoes. If you look at the heading of the enemy ships, it's very unlikely any of them get inside of that torpedo circle before the torps run out, and that's kind of what I'm always doing when I'm firing torps, is will a ship's natural path carry it in? And rather than base it on, range or anything, just look at the map. These torpedoes are going to take 30 or 40 seconds to get there, and 30 or 40 seconds, can an enemy ship drive in? And for the most part, the answer was going to be no. But now the Scharnhorst is turned nose in. It means maybe. In the meantime, the enemy teams evened it up. They killed one of Moose's Miyoko's. And what I really don't like seeing happen is Moose's team is just scattering. Got a destroyer who's run away over here. I'm guessing they've alt-tabbed or something because it's the only explanation I can find for them running aground. He's got a cruiser over with him, and then the battleships are all grouped up on the other flank. Now they're going to be able to take a beating as a group of 3, but that destroyer provides such a threat. Finally, Moose's smoke is back up, and he uses it, and the Miyoko's still spotted. Because that AFK destroyer, or his other cruiser over his shoulder, that other Miyoko, is spotting it. And one thing the Fiji does amazing, and anyone who's driven this ship knows, is once you manage to settle into a smoke and just start shooting your guns, you are going to do great amounts of damage to any target. Now the Miyoko's disappeared. Still got this Scharnhorst to shoot at. So a bit of forward engine, left rudder, and you can get yourself around to shoot, and that's where the Akatsuki appears. And that has to be target number 1. Destroyer is always target number 1, with the exception of maybe the radar cruisers. Just because the advantage the radar cruisers provide in certain situations. That said, eliminating a destroyer takes away the enemy's ability to spot, kind of passively spot, and just that threat of constant torpedo barrages that they can just pump out over time. He doesn't even look at the kill shots. He was switching over to shoot the Miyoko. Either is really confident or felt the Miyoko was the more pressing target. Either way, gets the kill, hits the Miyoko reasonably, though the Fiji you expect more, and there's one of the Fiji's great advantages. The repair party comes up, and he's recovering health. And that is so amazing in a cruiser, particularly in ranked, because it lets you get away with stuff. Like, you can make maybe one bad play, take the damage, and get away with that by repairing it. So it's one of the big advantages to the Fiji, and it's why I don't think the Belfast is the only choice out of the British ships. I really do feel the Fiji brings something to the table, and that's some great guns, good torpedoes, and for what it is, a pretty tanky ship. Just in the sense that, it can take a beating. I mean, 31,000 hit points. You throw on a couple repairs on top of that, and you're getting 40,000, 45,000 hit points out of this ship, which is getting close to battleship levels of HP. That said, if you give a battleship your side, they can easily get taken away from you. But at this point, this game's feeling pretty secure. You do have to be very careful at this point in games, though, because chasing ships is a dangerous prospect. Your shells, when you're chasing a ship, have to travel further than their shells returning towards you. So it's actually easier for a ship being chased to hit the ship chasing. And where this becomes really apparent is American destroyers, and it's why I just de facto will not chase destroyers in my American DDs. The shell loft means that at the outer edges of your range, you're firing 2 kilometers further than the ship firing back at you. And that disadvantage in range, dispersion, time of flight means you can wind up losing a heck of a lot more health than you expect to. And unfortunately for Moose there, he was the only thing spotting those battleships. So at this point, he's stuck in his smoke. All I can say is, in a situation like this, be patient. You're gonna get spotting. Your friendly battleships are gonna get to a place where they can spot, and Well, they just found the enemy Fiji, and he got deleted. Scharnhorst took a pretty big hit, probably from some torpedoes. So now it's just these two battleships, Moose, and whatever his team is left. And fortunately, or unfortunately, that Nagato is spotted. He's in and out, and finally he comes through. And you can see Moose made a good call. He backed around the hard cover of the island to guard himself from torpedoes. And it's little decisions like that that really kind of separate the people who are going to win and the people who are going to lose. A lot will just sit in the smoke. They won't go, oh, Gneisenau, it can have torpedoes. You know, you kind of get in your smoke and you go, ah, I'm invincible in here, nothing can see me. Well, you don't need to see someone to hit them with a torpedo. And you don't really need any hit points to launch torpedoes, so it's something you have to be very careful of. I was just about to say, at this point, Moose should be using their hydro. That Scharnhorst is well inside of it, and that becomes his advantage. And once this Nagato's dead, Moose can actually safely remain south of this smoke wall and keep that Scharnhorst spotted with that hydro. So hopefully this is the shot that does it. 600 points left on him. One more volley and he's good. And of course, the smoke runs up. So now it's a bit of a race. And Moose has the advantage here. I've talked about this in one or two other games, and Moose, you should have kept going around the island. He's always driving out into your shell fire, whereas you're always driving behind the island to that Gneisenau. Kiting around an island is another one of those skills that's gonna get you far in this game. Fortunately, he had torpedoes ready, and there's the last ship. So end of the day, would I have done some things differently? Yes. But it is so easy to question things in retrospect, and I don't think I could have done better in the end. 124,000 damage, almost 300,000 credits, a Kraken in ranked. Now, a couple of those kills were partial targets, but it doesn't matter. In ranked, it's about securing the kills, and just being in the position to get the shots off to get a Kraken is amazing. Well done, Moosealoob, and color me impressed. The one thing you'll notice too is Moose did everything. He used the torpedoes, he used his main batteries, he stayed in smoke, but he didn't hide behind his whole team. And so many Fijis and Belfast and any of the cruisers that can smoke sit miles behind their team in safety and relative obscurity because they can't get their guns firing. And if you can't fire your guns, you're not going to get 2,570 base XP. So there's definitely a time to be aggressive. And I felt Moose's play going to A on the north side of that island was a good one. If the whole enemy team had been going there, he could have turned left, kited the other way. But since they didn't, he was able to 1v1 the enemy Fiji, wipe him out with some torpedoes, and move on. And when you do look at the damage he did a lot of damage to a lot of dangerous targets on that other team. And as I said, he secured the kills. He got rid of them. The Akatsuki, the Miyoko, the Nagato. He made sure he was shooting at the things that were on low health. And focus fire is something you often don't see enough in ranked. There's too many times that I've seen an enemy ship on sub 1,000 hit points and everyone just stops shooting at them because they figure, someone else has that kill. And then suddenly, it's a battleship that manages to get into cover. And then the next time you see them, they recovered half their hit points. So if you ever see a ship, particularly in ranked, on low health, just get your guns on it and shoot. Get it off the board. Anyways, thank you very much, Moosealoob, or Andy S, for submitting this. To anyone else who has a great game they would like to send my way, Qckslvrslash@gmail.com. If you enjoyed this, please consider giving it a thumbs up or subscribing to the channel. Both keep me really motivated and help me out. And as always, I'm Qckslvrslash, and I'll have another one for you guys later.